Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, and all of that's included with that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Enrichment Series webinar. I'm your host, Dr. Andrea Bowens-Jones, and I'm here with our special guest speaker, April Anslinger, who I will introduce later in a few minutes as she gets ready to talk about how to build a tattoo-worthy brand with us today. Now you see yourself?
Oh, unfortunately, it's very large. Yes, I do.
Okay. Yes. So our speaker today is April Anslinger, and she's going to talk to us about how to build a tattoo-worthy brand. Just a few things about her before I kind of change it over to her is that she is the Global Chief Marketing Officer of Self-Esteem Brands. And I did a little research on Self-Esteem Brands. So I am excited about today's topic, excited what you'll share with us, and I am going to turn it over to you so that you can kind of take us through.
Perfect.
And I appreciate your patience.
No
I am
problem. So I
okay.
should have the same thing, Andrea, that will pop up, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Awesome. Now it should be in your control now.
Okay. You tell me when you can see my presentation.
Definitely will. We'll work this technology out. Thank you guys for being patient. This is my first webinar in the series, but I'm excited to be in the role. We're good to go.
Okay, we're good to go. Okay. Wonderful. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's so nice to be in the company of P&G alumni. Working at P&G was one of the best experiences of my career, and it's just wonderful to see or know that so many of you are on the call from around the world. So thank you so much for joining today. So just a little bit about myself. I am from actually Southern California, but made my way to the Midwest via graduate school. And then I landed in Cincinnati, Ohio, no surprise, where I met my husband, Brian. And we've got two daughters, Avery, who's 14, and Addison, who is 11. In terms of just my career in a very top line manner, I actually started my career at an ad agency in Los Angeles where I was an account executive for 5 years. And I realized doing that work and working with some really amazing clients that I really wanted to be on the client side of the business. So went to graduate school, and then a Southern California girl never thought she'd land in Cincinnati. So was pretty excited to get an internship at Procter and Gamble, and then thought, well, just go for a year. And it turned into a wonderful 15-year ride where I just got to have a lot of amazing experiences. I got to work on Febreze when it first launched. I worked in fabric care, new business. I worked on the Kroger customer team, and then I spent about half my career in hair care, where I worked across a variety of businesses and opportunities, including Head and Shoulders. I led the global herbal essences business. Aussie, I got to launch Old Spice hair. So just an amazing, amazing time in my career. And I think we all know how fortunate and lucky we are to be P&G alumni. I then actually completely switched gears and wanted to go smaller. I wanted to go private. I wanted to really shake up my resume and experience. And I became the chief growth officer for a couple years for a privately held food company. And then from there, actually landed in one of my dream jobs, working as general manager for North America Aveda. So Aveda is a brand that I've loved since I was about 18. And then as I spent a lot of my time in my career in hair care, admired from afar for very long. So it was kind of meant to be. And then most recently, I found myself in this incredible job that I am so excited to share with you more about this company that you've probably never heard of. And as Andrea mentioned, I'm the global chief marketing officer, and I've been in this role for about 5 months. Also on the screen is just my personal email account. I have it here if anyone needs help. I'm here to network, to help you in any way I can. So please feel free to email me or connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay, so before I start, I wanted to offer just a little perspective that I have kind of learned over these years. And I had a very wise person in my life tell me once that you need to think of your career as a tour of duty. And there are some stops that you liked, and there are some stops along the way that you didn't. And I really truly have like taken that to heart, and I've done a lot of reflecting, over my 25 years. And when I look back, I realize that the decisions I've made in my career that didn't align with my values or my really what I'm passionate about, and really honestly what I'm really good at, they have been the hardest, and really it's where I've not been the happiest, right? And sometimes I feel like I've made career decisions to go do something for a resume, or oh my gosh, this step changed my financial trajectory. But really, all in all, unless you're really focused on what you're great at and what gives you joy every day, you'll never be as happy as you can be. So part of today's presentation is just to remind you to make sure that you find what's right for you, and that you do that soul searching along the way. And obviously, I don't know, based on who's on the call, the levels of experience on this call, and I'm sure we have a variety. Some people that are newer in their career, some people that might be retired, that have been working for a very long time. But I think it's just, hopefully today I bring you a little bit of reflection, I guess, in terms of what you want to do next. And I think, really thinking about, as you think about your career, right? We all spend so much time obviously working. Where can you go? What kind of role can you be in? What kind of company can you be in where you can be yourself, where you can thrive, right? And I always think of it like, what does a life without the Sunday blues look like? And I have spent part of my career always in the Sunday blues, right? And I'm now in a role where I don't have that. I actually get excited on Sundays to go to work on Monday. And so, part of this presentation is to share why that is with you, and see what you can do to impact the company that you're at, based on this information. So my goals today, again, help you invest this hour in yourself and reflect on where you're at and what you want for your future. I hope that you find a nugget, or two, that can help you grow or move your business to the next level, or both. And again, just ask yourself, if you are in a role or at the company that brings out your best self and creates joy in your life. So you're probably asking, why did I choose Self-Esteem Brands, and who is this company anyway? And so I'll get into that, but everything I share today is the real deal. And I will tell you, I took a leap to go to this company. I had a couple other opportunities that you would know the companies if I put them on this screen, but your gut just kind of always knows the right door to open and walk through, right? And it was a good lesson for me to follow my gut. And I'll tell you, this place, Self-Esteem Brands, knows culture building like P&G knows brand building. And while I thought P&G did a wonderful job at culture, I did think, now that I have seen a company that is completely focused on it, it's amazing to me what can happen when you can build a culture like Self-Esteem Brands. And then the purpose of Self-Esteem Brands, which I'll get into, really fuels me to impact lives of others. So here is Self-Esteem Brands. We are a leading franchisor of health and wellness brands. Our purpose is to improve the self-esteem of the world. And I don't know about you, but as I mentioned, I've got two girls, and all I want for them is to be confident, self-sufficient young ladies growing into young women who believe in themselves, right? And I know throughout my life, self-esteem ebbs and flows, right? And it's amazing how hard you can be on yourself. So to work at a company where I get the chance to help others has really been a game changer for me. So some brands on here you might not know, some are bigger, some are smaller, but really the biggest part of this business is Anytime Fitness, which is we have close to 5,000 fitness locations in all 50 states and 28 countries. It's founded 20 years ago, about 20 years ago, and we are actually the largest fitness brand in the world that offers convenient and affordable amenities. So I'll get into that, because presentation itself is actually about the Anytime Fitness brand. We then have two studio offerings, a high intensity workout called Base Camp. It's actually a startup. We actually purchased it from the gentleman that started Zappos, and we have 10 locations across 4 states and growing rapidly. And this was acquired in October 18, and it's an amazing 35-minute workout, switching between weights and an assault bike. And actually in 35 minutes, you can burn the same amount of calories as you would in a 60-minute HIIT workout. We then have a low impact offering called the Bar Method, where we have 90 locations across 23 states and Canada. It was acquired, obviously, as you can see, a little bit before COVID. So that's been an interesting ride. but it's really a highly effective, even though low impact, kind of classic bar workout that actually will just kick your butt. So try it if you haven't. And then we have, in terms of personal care, we have Waxing the City, which we have 116 locations across part of the US. And this has been part of the business since 2012. And then we actually just recently, we're as we think about, wellness, right, and health, we really have been working hard to add nutrition to our portfolio. So we just acquired an awesome business called Stronger You, who has helped millions of consumers lose weight. And really, it's about custom, easy to follow nutrition guidelines that are really personalized and built around your lifestyle and preference. And consumers will say it's the last eating program you'll ever be on, because they help you figure out, how to eat for the rest of your life. So again, we're the world's largest fitness franchise. We have 5,100 centers across, the globe. We are 99% franchise, so that other percent is just where we own. We have some corporate studios and whatnot. A lot of franchisees. We always have a ton of units in our pipeline, and it's a fantastic and very interesting business model. So these are my two bosses. This is Chuck Runyon on the left. He's the CEO and co-founder, and Dave Mortensen on the right, president and co-founder. And these are two guys. They didn't go to college, right? They came from very humble beginnings, and they worked in the gym industry. And they were tired of getting a call at 5 a.m. in the morning when their front desk person didn't come to open the gym. And they came up with this idea. It's like, well, what if consumers could just access the gym on their own with a key fob? So thus launched Anytime Fitness, and they built this company with their bare two hands over the last 20 years. And they are the nicest, kindest, funniest people I have ever met in my life. And I will tell you a very big reason why I chose this opportunity, I was very fortunate to get it, is because of who these two guys are and what they do to change people's lives. Okay, so I think with the title of this presentation, I bet some of you are wondering, what is she really gonna talk about today with a tattoo? So I'm not talking about a new marketing framework. I'm not talking about an amazing campaign that we've done, and I'm not telling you about a huge idea we created that went viral. I'm talking about inspiring a high performance work culture where stakeholders are passionately committed, fully engaged, and aligned with the values. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So if you think about it, everyone wants a secret code for success, right? As we think about our businesses. And the most successful companies have one. Like Coke has their secret formula, KFC has their secret recipe, right? So at Anytime Fitness, we have a secret code for growth and customer experience. So if you look at what's happened over the last 20 years, and you think about the competitor growth comparison. So this is kind of a synopsis of AF, so you can understand a little bit of background here. So again, launched in 2002, and it's just crazy because if you look at, we launched this business, or Chuck and Dave launched this business when floppy disks were around, if any of you were around to remember that. And what's really insane about it is that there ended up being so many competitors that came into the mix. So there ended up being, actually, there's been over 300 brands around the world that have kind of copied the key card fitness concept that Chuck and Dave invented. And so, if you look at all these competitors that launched, just kept going and going and going. And then if you look at the results over the years, right, you can see that Anytime Fitness has done something differently here in that high purple bar to differentiate themselves from the competition. So over time, all these competitors died. And Chuck and Dave, if you think about why the gap, they realized they had to do something. They created a concept that wasn't complex, right? You got to invest in some technology and security, but what was going to happen and what were they going to do differently? And so this is in 2010 is when they started what they call the code. And I'll tell you, they talked about this time, they were growing so rapidly and so fast. Because they created a very easy model that franchisees could invest in from a financial standpoint. And they said the culture was terrible. They were growing fast, they didn't have the right processes, trust wasn't trust wasn't there between the teams, and they realized if they're going to really win and be able to execute well and move fast and be creative, they had to do things differently. So before we get into all of these wonderful answers, we have a couple audience alerts. So you should just know this before I start. So adopting our secret for growth may have you wearing kilts at work. This is Chuck and Dave. These are real images. May have you increase reimbursements for your company tattoos. And have people climbing mountains to fly the company flag. And then, of course, have you shaving company logos on your head. And then, I mean, this is just amazing. And it might cause you to donate a kidney to your consumer. So I'm sure you still want to see our secret code, right? So this is it. And actually, this is actually what I'm going to tell you about. But this is the binary code for what I'm gonna share. And to really explain it, Chuck and Dave decided, you know, at the end of the day, to figure out how to move this company forward, they really needed to start studying workplace effectiveness. And they found that the biggest unreported expense and growth impediment is really what they'll call overtime, right? So, or I'm sorry, undertime. So undertime, what is it? It's the amount of money that you actually pay for disengaged workers who are only present physically, which robs your company of growth, right? So undertime, 89% of employees report wasting time at work. 31% waste roughly an hour a day. 16% waste roughly 2 hours a day. And 4% of people surveyed wasted at least half of the average workday on non-related work tasks. So if for any of you that manage people, that's a killer, right? We all know how we can get in that mode, but clearly that is not what's going to drive a company forward. So for Chuck and Dave at the time, they really thought, gosh, how can we grow our business and have employees love us, right? Because that really is the secret. So what's our secret code to fuel growth and improve employee experience? It is about what we call the 4 Ps, which is people, purpose, profits, and play. So I'm going to take you through each of these and what they mean at our company and what has happened with them over the last 10 years to inspire the growth of Anytime Fitness. So the first is people, which is really obviously the cornerstone of everything that we all do, right, in our lives. And this is about investing in the personal and professional development of all stakeholders. And so for Anytime Fitness, when we talk about all stakeholders, we of course mean employees, we mean members that go to our gyms, we mean owners of our business, right? Our franchisees, owners who have invested their hard-earned money in trusting and believing in us. So if we look at this kind of diagram here, we see that we've got talent on the left and we've got culture and alignment on the bottom. And no surprise that the high performance quadrant up in the right hand corner talks about, you know, you have a great group of talented people and they create a culture of alignment, right? And probably no surprise that companies with engaged employees outperform those without by 202%, right? Pretty insane. And I think we all know, as we think about our time at P&G, right? We were all very engaged employees. So Procter's doing obviously something right. So I think, you know, it's funny if you, you know, you think about, okay, so how do you do this? You know, is it really like, do you need to be head focused first? Do you need to be heart focused first? And what's really interesting is the hardest road to travel is only 18 inches. And that is when you travel between your head and your heart. And that is where you'll find wisdom. And I think far too often in our careers and companies we work at, we don't talk about the heart. And I think, you know, these two entrepreneurs talked about both, right? And they talked about the importance of having heart at work, which is really truly what sets them apart. So to build this, and knowing they had to use their heads and their heart, they wanted to lay breadcrumbs out for their team as they rolled this out. So they created this acronym called CAT, which is about communication, alignment, and trust. So as we think about communication, So, and this is funny because the cat, I'll talk about at the end a book that they wrote that I recommend everyone read, but they still talk about cat today. And so it is used in a lot of different sentences, and you obviously have to quickly figure out what that is when you start. But in terms of, communication, they are about overly communicating, all lines of communication open. There are a variety of ways that employees can ask questions at the company. So we have this just ask box where you can anonymously put in, you can ask leadership questions or make suggestions. We actually, at every one-on-one, you fill out this really easy to fill out form that goes to your manager, and they ask 2 words on how you're feeling. Hold on one second. How you're feeling, what's your current state like? What are you frustrated about in the last couple of weeks? What are you proud of? So it really helps communication lines, and it really helps vulnerability, which they find really important to having strong communication. The second is about alignment. And, they fully believe that this starts with having a flatter organization. So, and while our organization isn't, of course, flat, it is probably the flattest I've ever worked in. And of course, that is because it's a little bit smaller, so that makes it easier. But they work very hard to not talk about titles. And so what that means is they create an environment where the most junior person in the room feels comfortable speaking. And the 2 of them really lead by example, right? And they're the ones that create an environment, and they expect the same of their executive team, where others feel comfortable to speak up. And it's something that is really easy for companies to say. I think a lot of companies want this, but it is very, very hard to do. And then it's really about, balance and making sure that, you're in your approach at work, you're very balanced. You're thinking about, okay, how do I balance speed with great execution, right? How do I balance conflict with ensuring that, words matter, right? And I need to be careful how I collaborate with people. So this is something that, is approached in every conversation that we have, and in every discussion, and how they communicate out to the organization. And then as we think about trust, it's when a new franchisee, signs that dotted line to do business with us, we're building trust with them. We obviously want them to trust us. I mean, these are small business owners, and I don't know how many of you have ever worked with franchisees, but these are small business owners. And I worked with a lot of, obviously a lot of small business owners out of Veda. And a lot of times this is their life savings, and they're investing in this, right? And this business is going to be what pays for their kids to go to college. So we take it very, very seriously, and trust is at the cornerstone of the relationship. And then it's about, it's about building trust between a member, for example, and maybe their trainer, right? So in this visual here, this gentleman here was in a car accident and lost part of his legs. And so from his knees down, his legs were amputated. And he went into Anytime Fitness, and he built a relationship with this trainer and said, I want to do a mud run. And this trainer trained him and did it with him. And we have a video of this that will absolutely just change your life. Like, this guy actually crawled his way through the majority of this race, and then his trainer grabbed him to take him over the finish line together. And that is, this gentleman came in and trusted the trainer with his health goals, his fitness goals, and the trainer trusted him back, and look what they were able to achieve together. And then this is our executive team. We look pretty silly, but I'll tell you, we have a lot of fun, and I'll get into that. And we have a high level of trust, and it is something that is talked about every day. It's something that I've been on a lot of executive teams, and I've never seen anything like it. And it really starts from our two co-founders who have built an organization that operates through trust. Purpose. So this is really, I think that obviously P&G people know this better than anyone, but this is the impact a company has beyond economic or personal gain. And as I mentioned, our purpose is to improve the self-esteem of the world, which is pretty fun. And, sorry, I'm going to play a little video. It is going to be hard to hear, so it's just an example of how the self-esteem brand's purpose comes to life, and how people, all the different ways and all the different approaches that we have to creating purpose. It's going to be hard to hear, so you'll hear a little bit of a faint. Of course, ending with that great tattoo on that gentleman's butt. That is a big part of this brand, which I'll get to. So purpose. You might be saying, okay, well, that's great. And you work at a health and wellness company, and you're in the fitness space. Of course you can transform people's lives, but I sell widgets, right? So what do I do? So I'm going to tell you a little story. So let's imagine that you do sell widgets. You make screws, right? You make these really big, sturdy screws here. And let's say that these screws actually are the screws that a children's furniture manufacturer uses to attach their furniture to the wall. I think we all know that furniture, when it comes to children, can be very dangerous, right? And oftentimes, even at IKEA right now, you actually have to agree when you're buying a piece of furniture that you are going to attach it to the wall, because there's been so many accidents with children. And that is exactly what happened here to Chuck's son, so our CEO. His son was climbing up on a dresser. He was obviously super little. It fell on him, and his lungs actually collapsed. So he was in the hospital for, I think, the intensive care unit for a week and a half. They did not know if he was going to make it. Obviously, there were not screws attached at the time to the furniture, but he did make it. And here he is a couple years later, completely healthy, completely recovered. I mean, it's such an incredible story of, like, imagine though, if you were the person, you made widgets, you made screws, but how you think about how you can impact a family's life just needs a little bit of creativity, right? So if you worked for the screw manufacturer and you were working with this furniture company, this situation would have never happened here to cute little Charlie, right? So it's all on how you think about it. And I think, it's really about focused on, we all know what, our brands that we work on, what we believe in, right? And then we really all have to know what our consumer believes in. And really it's the common purpose that we share between a brand and between consumers, right, is where the magic happens, and where we can really create trust and create special relationships that drive trial and drive loyalty with consumers. So if you are in the widget business, or something that's, a little bit different than fitness, and it's not as easy to understand, really think about how the products you work on, the services that you work on, how do these things enrich the people, enrich consumers, or our planet? Think about, okay, if you're struggling to make that connection, how can your organization adopt a cause to make a difference, right? How can you create that kind of purpose in your company to go and start to impact more lives? And I really think, like, look inward and share the stories of your team. I obviously, working at this company, we have incredible member success stories, and part of the organization's success is sharing these member success stories. But we also do a lot of employee story sharing, and every single town hall we have, we spend 5 minutes focused on an employee that has gone through something challenging. And it doesn't have to be like this health, I lost 30 pounds kind of thing that would be obvious with a fitness company. It's not like that. It's about real people with real problems and things they've overcome, or appreciation they have. And within that, there is a beautiful space of being vulnerable. And the more vulnerable you can be at work and sharing the stories of each other, the more you're going to build trust, and the more you're going to find purpose together. So let's talk about profits. So this is the required financial lifeblood of any sustainable company, as we all know. And I think here, as we think about people, we talked about, right? My gosh, we're all here. We want to, we each of us want to do a great job. We want to impact consumers. We want to do things to make people's lives better. We have great purpose that we want to rally around, right? And we want to play. We want to have fun. But we all know that none of this can happen without profits, right? And so it is so, so, so important, obviously, that this is at the cornerstone of what we build and what we create. And obviously all of you are very aware of that. But it is interesting when you work at a company that is so, purpose driven and has such great culture. It's and I've seen this in my past. I've seen it where employees want to move things forward or want to make decisions, and they're not best really always for the profit, and that's okay. But sometimes they forget that they might work at a profit driven company. And so what's interesting about this company is that the balance between these four, I've never seen anything like it. And it is because of, I think, the simplicity and the focus and the consistency of talking about these four. But everyone knows that without making money, and without making really sound business decisions, and without growing our franchisees' business and creating a great space in all of our studios and boutiques for consumers to do what they need to do, we can't do any of that without profits. So think about a table, right? And for us, it's Chuck and Dave are very, very focused on who is at our table, right? And when we think about our business and we think about making money, we've got to think about everyone that is eating the meal, right? And so it's the employees, and how do we help the employees achieve financial success, right? Our franchisees that have invested their savings with us, their life savings, how do we help them achieve financial success, right? And then of course, we're at the head of the table. We've kind of created the table, we've built it, we've invited everyone in, and we have to make money, right? So that we can continue to put food on the table. But we also, think about who are our suppliers, our partners, our vendors, all the agencies we work with. How do we help them become more successful and make more money? And then of course, how do all of us work together to provide amazing brand opportunities and experiences for the consumer? And I will tell you, they operate with a mentality of abundance. And it's so interesting how many times in my career I've looked back, and as a team or a company, we operate with a mentality of scarcity. I have to have this, right? They can't have that. Gosh, if this one agency gets this and this agency can't. When you come at your work and your day-to-day life with a mentality of abundance, what you'll find, and if you think about everyone that sits at the table, what you're going to find is that there is more than enough food to go around. And so I would encourage you to think about, who's at your table, whether this is your personal life, your professional life, but really who are all the stakeholders? And do you think about that supplier you work with, that agency partner you work with? Do you think about how to help them be more successful? I think sometimes we don't do that, right? And we're always like, oh, we got to cut the budget here, we got to squeeze them here, when really, if we really think about the collective whole, we will actually make a lot more money. So, the way we talk about this is that growth and consumer experience is more than just a return on investment. And that is about a return on emotional investment. And there are decisions we make, of course, based on ROI. But the company talks ROE almost more than they talk ROI. And if we make this investment, will we actually create a stronger culture, right? Will we have better retention? Will our franchisees trust us even more? Will the consumer have an even better experience? And really, in the end, return on emotional investment is how our company feels we will increase actually our return on investment in total. So let's talk about play. Play is about creating a fun and more enjoyable workplace culture that fosters creativity, collaboration, and curiosity. I think we all know the definition, right? And it's no surprise, and you've heard this, there's so many amazing companies out there that do a great job, but there is so much evidence that if you allow employees to engage in something they want to do, which is playful and fun, there are better outcomes in terms of productivity and motivation. And so happiness at work is really important. Companies with happy employees outperform the competition by 20%. Happy employees are 12% more productive. Happy salespeople produce 37% greater sales. Close work friendships boost employee satisfaction by 50%. And employees who are happy at work take 10% of sick days versus unhappier counterparts. So when I take a step back and look at this, of course you're probably like, of course, of course, of course. But I would encourage you, how are you finding out, how happy your employees, your teams, quite frankly, even your leaders, right? You can manage up. How happy is everyone at work? And I will tell you, we ask employees a lot of very direct questions. And so we have what we call a 9 grid, which is, the competencies that we believe makes successful employees. And just yesterday at our exec team, we were in a conversation about everyone's happiness, and we were all asked as leaders to share with our direct reports, and then obviously cascade it down, some very specific questions to ask everyone right now, because everyone's working really hard, around kind of the Delta variant is adding more stress at work, I'm sure for all of you as well. And so it's interesting questions we were asked to ask our team, and one of them is actually, do you feel like you have a best friend at work? And look at that, close work friendships boost employee satisfaction by 50%. And so these are really simple things that you can ask your teams, quite frankly, your colleagues, right, to see where you guys are at from a happiness standpoint. And I think it's no surprise that, when we create a playful environment, right, we are creative, we are more collaborative, we create greater connection, which helps build trust. And really, at the end of the day, employee engagement and employee retention are higher. And I look at why I came to this company, and there's so many amazing reasons outside of the company purpose, really believing in Chuck and Dave, the exec team, and really the potential of all of our brands and the future success that we will have. But obviously culture is a big deal, right? And I have never worked at a place that people wanted to be at so badly. And yes, we all grew up at a wonderful, wonderful company that I will always hold close to my heart. But to work at a company where play is a really, really deliberate component of the culture, I have never seen employees so engaged, want to be at the company. We actually are located in Minneapolis. Those in the community wanting to be part of the company, and then people staying, right? It's been pretty incredible. So, again, we work hard, but we play hard, and these are all pretty simple things, right? And it's about, the company has block parties and holiday parties. They have a really epic Halloween party where every single person dresses up, and not because they have to, because they want to. There's charity golf outings. They have this thing called rookie skits. And so every new employee at the Halloween party has to get on stage for a minute and showcase a talent. And I know it sounds probably horrifying to many of you. I still have to figure out what mine is. But what it does is just creates like vulnerability and helps people actually be more comfortable. So it's pretty interesting. And then obviously we do a lot of charity events. I mean, I work for two of the most giving people I've ever met. And they give out so much of their own personal money. And then obviously as a company, we sponsor a lot of different things. We do company workouts together. So whether we're at a big Anytime Fitness convention and there's a huge workout in a football field, or it's even tonight at base camp, there's going to be one of our employees is going to be DJing this workout. So everyone sends a note, hey, meet us at base camp. There are a lot of pranks, I have to be honest, a lot of jokes. And it's funny, I look back at my time at P&G, and I worked on some amazing businesses, and every single time I worked with fantastic people. But I'll never forget, the best teams were the ones that played jokes on each other. Like on Febreze, we used to take Febreze and wet the chair. So you'd wet someone's chair and then they'd sit down, of course, right? I mean, Head and Shoulders. It was, it just kept things centered, balanced, and we had a good time. The company makes pretty epic, funny videos, and we hire very smart people, but we make sure that we think that they're fun and they want to have fun, and they want to come and they want to compete, they want to win, and that they really value having a good time in conjunction to, for what that does to building a culture that people want to be part of. So this is actually also a huge component, and this is a sketch before the building was built, but we have an amazing environment that we work in that brings our culture to life. And there's walking trails, there's of course an Anytime Fitness gym, There's a tattoo studio, which I'll get to. There's ping pong games, fire pits, there's bars inside, kitchens, you can get waxed. And just overall, I would say the workspace itself from a design standpoint is incredibly inspiring. And it's amazing what can be done with colors, right? Or specific furniture patterns or lighting to create that environment. And I know that it's been really hard for this company, you know, to go through COVID and not be in the building. It's people actually want to be there. And we're back to hybrid now. And so most people come in Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'll tell you, it is amazing, the energy in the building. Like I feel energy when it's just, you know, 10 of us in there. But when that place is more full, it is, I can't believe what an environment can really do to work. And I haven't actually worked at a company that has a real inspiring physical environment. So it's incredibly impressive. Okay, sorry, I'm gonna say this again for you. This is just a short little video that shows all the ways in which our company plays.
Or I'm looking for you.
Pretty fun, huh? What'd you say?
I said, I'm looking for you in
Andrea?
these pictures. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I can hear you. Not yet. Those are it's I wasn't here yet. So one day there will be one. I'll make sure I share it with you. So, you know, and everything I'm just sharing today is really it's why people we call bleed purple, right? So because of everything I've shared and everything that has been, yes, created over the last 20 years for this amazing business, but really the last 10 years since Chuck and Dave really injected the 4Ps. You know, over 4,000 employees, franchisees, and members have tattooed the brand icon, which we call the Running Man, on their bodies. And the company actually will pay for your tattoo. So they've spent over $500,000 for employees and franchisees to get the tattoo. Like I said, we have a tattoo parlor in the building. It's pretty amazing, right? And these people, you know, it's been so interesting to come into this because I think we all know, and you might have seen it in the descriptor for this, that Harley Davidson is the #1 tattooed brand, right, on anyone's body, and we're #2, right? It's pretty crazy that you tattoo a brand on your body, and it is because this company has really changed people's lives, right? And they bleed purple, right? They wear purple hair, they have purple cars, it's purple everything. And I really think it's like, you know, if you think about the dedication to the 4Ps 10 years ago, it just changed the culture, but it has changed the trajectory of the business forever and has created a brand in a highly competitive space that keeps growing and winning and will be around for the future. So Andrea, I know I have like 2 more minutes. So again, we should all work here, right? We know that we've got to focus on people, we've got to make money, but we should all live here, right, with our purpose and our profit and our play. So here's my call to action for all of you on the 4Ps. Ask yourself, what as a leader can you do differently to make an impact in your current organization? Measure how happy and engaged are your employees. Do you know what their undertime might be and why it's happening? You know, the 4Ps, which one or couple does your organization need more of to solve undertime and fuel growth? Even if you just go pick one and talk about it with your leader or within your organization, decide you're going to start to go do these things, pick the one that you think is going to make a difference. And then I would just ask all of you, you know, are you happy? You know, so as you make your way through your tour of duty in your career, it's really important to ask yourself if you are really able to be who you are in your current role, to do what you're really good at, to be able to maximize your skill set and find your joy. So that is all for me today. If you are interested in learning more about their philosophy, they wrote a book, and they all the proceeds of the book are donated. It's called Love Work. You can also email me, and I can mail you one. They offered to give all of you books, but they realized we were virtual, so that's challenging. But let me know, email me, and I'm more than happy to send you a book. So that's it for me, Andrea. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. And we do have time for a question. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the question that is in the question block. So it goes back to one of the points you made earlier about the 4 Ps. How did the leadership of Anytime Fitness deal with their employees when COVID hit? And in particular, did they keep everyone, and how did COVID impact your 4 Ps?
Yeah, oh my gosh, great question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, so the first thing that they did is they stopped. They didn't take any payments from the franchisees. So they invested $15 million in that. Here's these small business owners. Gyms are closing, right? We're not going to have them pay us. And so that was the first thing they wanted to do to keep their small business owners intact. And then within that, what I've been working on actually, as I came in the last 5 months, we are working to pass a Gyms Act to help fund the gyms. Restaurants have been funded, so many businesses have been funded, but gyms have not. And so we've been working on this massive public affairs government push to enable that funding. So that's like part one. Part two was in terms of employees, they did have to reduce their staff. I think it was about 10%. And a lot of it was part-time people or contractors, right? So they did everything they could to keep their full-time individuals. And there's actually some people as we ramp back up that they've reached out to see if they want to come back. So when people do have to exit or leave, it's amazing. I've never seen anything like it, that the relationship stays as strong as it does. So very, very sensitive in how they did that. And actually how they enabled play was pretty amazing. They did create a virtual playground. They had town halls, they had happy hours. They ended up doing the rookie skits for the Halloween party, if you will. They actually did them all virtually, and everyone had a minute to do their talent virtually. And some people cooked. I mean, it was amazing, right? And I think just the energy of the company. I joined in a pandemic, right? And so I can't believe the energy that can be felt virtually. And I came from an organization where you never really felt that energy on a virtual call or in a chat. And what it comes down to is a massive amount of positivity. And when you're on any virtual call at this company, people are in the chat complimenting you. They're saying, wow, welcome to the company. I can't wait to get to know you. Let me know if you want to go and do this class together. It is so supportive and positive. And I think that's a big reason why you can feel the energy of the company even in a virtual environment. So for me, I've been blown away by this company and been mostly virtual. And now that we've been back in hybrid, it's amazing to see them what happens when you're physically together. So they did a fantastic job. And they personally, another thing they did was for bonuses. It was finance had made a recommendation and they doubled it and they put in their own money. So I think that they put their money where their mouth is personally. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I love so much about what you shared today, and it really speaks volumes about how strong culture can even drive business growth. So, thank you with that. And I hate to get ready to close because I know that I have questions, and also others may have questions. But thank you for sharing your email address, and could you just repeat that again in case people do have questions that we're not able to get to today?
Sure. So it's AK and then my last name, Anslinger, ANSLINGER @gmail. And again, you can always find me on LinkedIn, and I'm here to help any of you in your careers, anything that I can do for you personally. This network and alumni group is strong, and I want to do anything I can.
Awesome. All right. So, with that being said, we're going to get ready to kind of go through the announcements and close today's webinar. Is few reminders: get involved. Let this not be your only intersect with the alumni group. Sign up for updates at pgalums.com. Support the foundation. You heard me mention that in the beginning that it's global. What the foundation funds, and you can find more information on pgalumnifoundation.org. Partner with us. There you see the email address, sponsor at pgalums.com, and volunteer, start, join a chapter, or any other questions you have. You can go to email at hello at pgalums.com. And as we mentioned in the beginning, this session is being recorded, and you can access the recording in case you missed anything about those 4 P's. I know I'm already thinking about how can I apply that to the work that I do, especially the play part. Got to get more play in. So go and check out the recording at pgalums.com. But also, we have a YouTube channel, and it'll be available on the YouTube channel within 1 month. And you can look at PG Alumni Network. Also, it's a great way if you've missed any of the past webinars, you can go back and watch those. Once again, I have the email address up on the screen. If you have questions, hello at pgalums.com. And mark your calendar for our next session, which is September 14th, 2021, with Mark Prager, President, CEO of and Board of Directors of the Longai Group. He'll be talking about driving success in mid-market companies. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. Join me in thanking the amazing April again for sharing all the wisdom that you have, and for your excitement. I could hear your passion come through with your new place. So best of luck to you with your new role, and I look forward to seeing your tattoo somewhere on a wrist
I
or
was waiting for
somewhere.
that question.
It was
Thanks, Andrew.
mine. It was one of
Yeah,
mine.
I was at yours. Yeah, I do not have a tattoo, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, enjoy your day, and thanks again for joining us today. I look
Of
forward to
course.
seeing
Thanks,
everyone
Andrea, for
else.
all your help. Thank you,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
Bye.